So let's get caught up on this Nick stuff, and then we can move on. So the last we heard, almost 24 hours ago, it was broken on Kiwi Farms, which, again, I have to admit, because some people, they say Kiwi Farms, like, oh, Kiwi Farms. I don't think Kiwi Farms likes me very much, but that's fine. I like their site. I like reading. I get a lot of, they break a lot of shit over there on Kiwi Farms, but especially fragile egos. But I'm on there today. Or I was on there last night, and on Kiwi Farms, some guy waited for Nick to announce that he was doing his first stream back on YouTube and Rumble, and he, boom, just drops this child protection order report that shows, among other things, there's a lot of stuff in there that make Nick and Kayla look like giant pieces of shit. The big one for a lot of people was the 9-year-old whose hair follicle test tested positive for cocaine. And we were all wondering, like, we were on the show last night going, if this is true, this is alleged, we don't know if this is authentic, blah, 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 blah. We had to do that whole thing. Well, then all of a sudden, shortly after our show ends, Josh from Kiwi Farms tweets out, I'm 100% sure this is authentic. Source, trust me, bro. And we thought maybe like Josh's lawyer had taken a look or, he'd gotten some kind of outside confirmation. It turns out that Nick Rekieta himself, and this guy, take his phones away, take his computers away, make him live Amish for a year until this whole thing's settled. Because he's reading everything, he's watching every episode of Steel Toe. I know that for a fact. I also know that I shouldn't say no. I have a decent idea that people are fucking spiraling. Be safe. But I know he watches everything, he reads everything. It's so bad for him because then he goes on those streams and he runs his fucking mouth and he says shit that's going to fuck up his case. I thought Legal Mindset made a great point. Nick said his 3 most important things are his family, his freedom, and fighting the government. How did calling out the CPS lady and calling her a liar, who's going to be a witness in your criminal case and is running your CHIPS case, how is shitting on her and calling her a liar helping your family? How does it help your freedom? How does it help fight the government? It's kind of like your impotent rage at that police officer. You're bullshit lying. Fuck off. That didn't do anything to help you. Just made you look like a seething, retarded teenager. But, he goes and he texts Josh from Kiwi Farms. Because Josh from Kiwi Farms posted the child protection order thing on a different thread. So he locked the normal Nick Rekieta thread. Nick must have thought that Josh was locking the Nick Rekieta thread as like a friend deal. Josh from Kiwi Farms is like, I just locked it because people wanted to talk about the child protection order, and that was on the other thread. The other thread was still open, and it was going fucking bananas. Nick also then writes, we have the screenshot here. Let's pull it up. This was Null at Kiwi Farms. He messages me out of the blue to say 2 things. 1, to thank me for locking his thread. Stupid, he didn't do it to help you. He was doing it as an organizational tool so there wasn't multi-posting all over the place. So Nick texted Josh, thanked him for locking the thread. Nick, you don't have to fucking comment on anything. Now, this is the tragedy of Nick, and this is what I mean by the rest of you are getting to know the real him, the guy I knew for months. If this guy can't control the narrative, he can't live. If this guy can't control the story, or if people start to think for themselves and start to dare think that he's not the smartest guy in the room or his story isn't the most pure and authentic, he loses his fucking mind. That's why you see all the gaslighting and the narrative changing and all the, sociopathic, narcissistic tricks. If this guy can't control the message, he's going to butter up to the people who do control the message until those people tell him to fuck off. Then he's going to, you're lying bullshit motherfucker, fuck off at the police kind of a thing. So he goes, thanks, Josh, for locking the thread. Josh didn't do it for you, dude. And then number 2, he wrote to Josh, not to tell him that the child protection order thing was fake, but to jump right to denying that his child tested positive for cocaine. Nick, you just gave Josh what he needed to authenticate the fucking document. Josh was at basically coin flip before this. He was at like 50-50. I think he said 60%. He was coin flipping before this. He was guessing. And you authenticated it for him. You might as well have released it yourself. You might as well have tweeted out, hey, Child Protective Services said that my kid tested positive for cocaine in a follicle test. Now, Nick is denying that his child tested positive for cocaine. And now Josh has these texts. First of all, Nick, if the test turns out to be true, you just lied. Number two, you don't know if your child tested positive or not. You have no fucking idea because, as we know, you weren't exactly keeping good tabs on your kids or taking care of them very well. So you denying that your kid tested positive for cocaine, were you there when they ran the follicle tests? Were you there when they got the results? No. So you denying that your child tested positive for cocaine is just you trying to manipulate people into believing what you want to believe. Because you don't know any more than the rest of us know. He claims the test is faulty. You don't know that. You have no idea. You're guessing and hoping and wishing. Is testing a metabolite which exists outside of the body. And also the levels of cocaine it's a metabolite that's produced when the body breaks down cocaine. That's what they're looking for. And also that the levels of cocaine they are suggesting she had in her would indicate that she should be dead. Another lie from Nicholas Robert Rekieta. Another misrepresentation of the fact. No. What the test revealed was that she had the same levels as a daily or weekend user, a social user of cocaine. And since those samples hang on for about 30 days, then it's possible that she got one dose, ingested it accidentally. I don't think that the kid was in there ripping lines. The kid never once ran out to me and yelled, "Fix her!" Never happened. Although one time the kid said, you see, you have to understand, if the SpaghettiOs do get cold, you can just heat them up again. And I thought that was really weird that she would talk to me in that tone. But to sit there and go, she would be dead. No, she wouldn't. That's just you lying. Again, this is a guy who, since this report came out, is fucking spiraling and is saying anything. And I feel bad for him because I don't think he's saying this shit to Josh or saying this shit to me or saying this shit to the internet in general because he needs to say it to them. I think Nick's saying it because he needs to say it to Nick. Because he's losing his fucking mind. He's spiraling. And I can only imagine, I'm not saying I wouldn't be too if I made the same boneheaded decisions he did. I'd probably be spiraling too. I'm actually doing quite well because of all those failures. Right, buddy? Right, Nick? Why can't you say PPP by name, by the way? Why do you have to say fat Canadian? You scared of PPP? I mean, I don't mind saying it right now. I am. The guy's terrifying. He's so morally judgy and chubby, but like in a weird way where like you kind of, like a fat pastor. You're like, I respect him. Yeah, you know what? Respecting a pastor, not something you'd know anything about. Anyway, see the problem with the modern evangelical church. We got it, Nick. Galatians is wrong. You're right. So he claims the test is faulty and the amount she had in her system, she should be dead. Well, no, that's not what the test said at all. You're saying that so that it makes sense to you, not because it's the truth. And I'll give you a little leeway because, again, you're losing your mind, you're spiraling, you're fucked up. I got it.